like a dark idol looking down on a town unknown, backed into the limelight and illness of the Lydian mode. Picture contradiction at the top of the pilot episode, kept under glass on a desk made of flesh, air ride equipped. The underling is alive, already shipped, and a little too high to die. Always an inch in advance of the crest, seen through the eye of a ghoul at best. In the nape of the tide, to the east of the edge, a kitchen floor religion for all that was done, so little was said. Black is the new black. It would have been naive to think it possible to take it all back. Fire in the hole of a hollow scenario, gruesome and elusive in the furlough. It's always easy to say what it isn't. For lack of a better chord, I'm thinking, loved or hated, never ignored. I get to writing, and I can't even read my drinking. Perfectly exempt, with nothing but contempt. Permanently made, just as instant as it gets. Fear's a word of failure, with tremendous side effects trimmed to the silver with the sulfur and molasses. I'm going where the woodbine twines. Sporadic and nomadic where the river unwinds. Too much fat's been chewed along the banks of the misconstrued. I'm off to the scare mill, coming back in blue and mercury. I'm glued to my head, quite frankly. The black-eyed Sabbath of the back streets, retrograde, black and white beer night beats. Sometimes a river runs red, a very last-ditch effort for the betterment of going to bed. Like a chill to the skin of every spine that's ever been. The call of the void is loosened by the wind, looking for a way to trick me into happening. It's a view from the verse that couldn't get any worse. A funny thing happened on the way to the church. The vision's crude, unfriendly sound. Everything else is guilty anytime it turns around. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's true. Better find something you love, and you better just let it kill you. I'll see it when I believe it. Like an 8-track tape on a hot tin roof. Always making me feel like a phone booth. Staking out the fire hive, I'm cooking with ice. I couldn't get a shimmy to save my life. My level is molecular. I can't get back from where I'm at. Unfinished business, this and that. A little like a needle in a haystack. Giving the bone a bone, it's a fascination on the move through this scary block of subterfuge. Gimlet eyes and minds who bar the doors and draw the blinds where the pen of the dead-set beacon shines. A lit crit bloviation of wraparound soundscapes. Sucked into the source, of course. Born in the moon of the hippie thing. Pricking the bish with them slit puffy eyelids. And bursting from the string to sing. with the patience of the hemlock, an endless stock of modern rock. I epitomize and typify the struggle of my lot. Bloated and outmoded, deeply cleft and underpaid, the spiritual tycoon of the Gilded Age, the carnival man with invisible eyes, can't find anything that upsets him in his size. A sucker for the 70s, the glitter and the gloomery. I got the dirt on Sand Street. 1,001 nights of twisted memories from the moors of a ruined moon in space. Song-fueled rumors have crossed over flush with frankenseeds and lace. Evolving in a circle, completing and repeating. The music is a center with a liver made of wood. A long and noisy prayer about the properties of good. Nourished by the restlessness. A low-key war on apathy. Designed to put an end to this. By the warmth of feeling unwelcome tonight. In a cloud of abysmal disgrace, the sound of the ground is in my sights. The wings and songs of finality, feeding a fire that runs on fumes. Nothing gets me higher than laying low with you. Strike with impunity, always a father to all of the freaks. Like brick and mortar, I will wear these trees. Every week of the day, looking death right in the flesh. Our blood is in the water. The evidence is hearsay, at best. A relatively morbid fascination of a mess. From the hide of the whole, a kind of graveyard of the soul on a weekend full of secrets that will never be the same. It's a different kind of truth in the land of counterpain. I touch myself to you, toppling even higher. By the sound of the crimson tide, it's a bone-deep love on fire. A lifetime worth of moments tied together till we're done. It's all razor blades and roses. There's plenty for everyone. Abandoned by the force, bewildered and unabashed. The mounting grief is always worn like a secret other half. From the mouth of July and the days of old, a huff and a puff and away we go. Switched without a hitch, though hungry for a time. Memory almost murdered, so free to wing the winds of rhyme. Made with the racing rhythm in a series of disconnected accidents. The rubric of a ritual, perishing in the process, slunk into the slow. The bones becoming brittle, tyranny begins to tremble, forged till fresh in the fires of fate, driven ever darkly onward, the augury of adventure buries its barb in the heart of a light, 'neath a tree in the yard. Speaking boldly by the night at best, my field notes are a bloody mess. To weed is to feed, the sprouts may take. When they do accumulate, I climb the walls. The secret is enough to go without it all. Learning to cope and telling it through, I like my dope to be just like you. Left in the lurch, tied up in church, making famine where abundance lies. That beauty's rose may never die. For all the treasures of such lusty days, and all-eating shame for a thriftless praise. These lofty trees I see barren of leaves, so whose let so fair a house fall down to its knees? A skeleton of the free, my whole heart is under your hammer. Come and walk these streets with me. On this soggy, foggy morn, a beachcomber of the matrix, from the day that you were born, busking on the moon, rolling in the glass at last, slow to bear its ancient fangs. These are mother's knives and boomerangs, electric effluvia, that one drop of ink that makes a million stop and think. These modern times call for brevity, 6 feet of earth and all it contains. Washing up on the shores of Grotesquerie Street, she is still the silk and of the sea, so spectral and barely there, it's curtains for me. Dipped in crimson on my favorite desert island, a bloodless heart beats tired of life, hopeless hope on the horizon. The night of the dolphin witch, sadness erupted, it's flooding the garden. Extra stretch and triple stitch, the arteries do begin to harden. It's a luminary stew. Remember, love was once like you. Fronting a fate too ill to mend, the fleet-footed one, whose ends are loose and juiced, the supernatural underside of art and darker things, neat with a beat in the middle of the street. And how to be burned apart at the seams, all the ash and all the rust couldn't keep this house from killing us. With every waking, screaming and mind-rendering intention, flinging wide, if once again, the gates between dimensions, brooding on the crest of a lonely hill. I strayed a little further. It shook me till I broke, turning rougher to the touch, so pleasantly vexing. One too many is never enough. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, with matching lightning bolts and wits. It doesn't matter where you are, we'll always be bottomless. cross of desire. From the dizzying heights of the floor, I think I just set myself on fire. Black dust and barren stone, an antsy little sense of menace. Better off left alone. A trollop in the hollow, taking the icy trail back to the moon. The touch and go semantics of all the elephants in the room. There's something in the road lower than the potholes, and there's something underneath slower than the angels. People round here dig their graves with their teeth. The ultra-local on universal terms, lost in a mist, an inferno of failures is just what it is. Fastened by chains to the mains, dashing off to the darker side, a gaunt and silent sailor with the bride of the murder ride. Against the leaves of a lost romance, the longer it gets, the older it goes. A life floating down the Promethean beanpole. The roar of an empty language clowning around the hinge and cobblestone, dying in harnessed down memory lane. Alone, the one of me, standing there in the rain. Bound to be bound, beyond the song without a sound. Knowing nothing in advance as I feel my way around. Relations between myself and I, for having run amok, have completely broken down. The lucid gadgetry of life, ice cold, steeped in a time that's losing to death, swimming in the frozen dew of love. The more we move, the colder it gets. Wandering on, digging up the road, ascribed by the scruff of whatever is left. It's never enough. Just let it go. In the square of the wheel, a statue of you, my lady in teal. Under canopy of stone, the two were abreast in a circus of bone. Unbind the bound, break loose the lightning from the lonely woods of automatic writing. A regular raider of another world, the stupor of the peasant and his penchant for the resin girl. Everywhere she goes. Smoky nightclub like a picnic to the cosmos, rich with vision on a stick. It's the lingo of the masses. All high camp and neon fabulous, playing bingo in their shindig glasses. Nature is the sound of the ragged. It all comes out in the myth and the time you're keeping up with. In the golden age of a stolen gift and still adrift. As active as always, sincerely severe. In my head, she's a hallway out of here. A hope though remote, holds my soul like a ghost on a rope. And so, the only food that I keep finding is you. We are bound for the binding. Lips don't leave no fingerprints, and everything is timing. Like coins jingling in the dark age, stunningly shunned, you know it's true. Thrown out of the fun, you may be done with hell, but it's not done with you. I've faced eyes more cruel than theirs alone, left in the dust, grasping for bones. The house of pain is on to home, shot like an arrow right through to the morrow. The old black path comes back to life, the first one there and the last to laugh. So old in the cell of this haunted soul, I need to be weaned and believable, gaining as I give, aging in a world of woe. Don't get any water on my boat. Come on in, let's just spin. We'll converge on the air and write our way there. Get it all out, I'll hold your hair. Strewn across the framework, however inefficient, shewing all the signs of awkward disposition. By the eyes of God, an incendiary cocktail of acute and social vision, a license to live the war of a new religion. In the avatar pits of an unfriendly mire, with manners as much like the rules of a prison. The force of the fendings and the rendings of the fire. The pocket full of skeletons running along with a spider. Across the snow to nowhere safe, gutter pressing the flesh in the face. On our way to the wind farm, we may easily perceive how irrevocably mistaken our future must be. Mocking the invisible world, a disorder that owes its origin to the love of a glow-in-the-dark girl. Lost contact, alteration perceptible, marginalized in fact. 31 days in the hole or your money back. At the fringe of every bridge, I'm slipping through the cracks. Coiling away in the bowels of the darkest subterranean now. My appetite leads me elsewhere, staring down the crowd, cruising for a tap out. I am made for the dark, and so to be consumed. Though yours may be quite difficult, mine is already doomed. I have stood in blood for long enough, a would-be king of the freaks on Blake Street, joining the poets of forbidden love in all of us at last, a regular star-down quilt. Don't let the light hit you in the ass. Stunningly shunned and sick of the sighs, I've been staring down the grave, the very white of its eyes. Jazz hands working the folkery, imprisoned in my room and haunted by the likes of me. I hold the wild up high and reach, ever so lastly with perilous speed. Far and further still, in a silent valley, I will sing. Taken back in time, even further out to sea, in hopes that any moonlit day now we'd come back to me. I'm preaching to the fire. I have drunk and seen the spider in a room we made for secrets. The beasts will feed for knowing best. 100 run of the million, and then some. This is the night. And not from one lone cloud, but every mountaintop now, heights who have appeared as lovers, who have parted tramplers of one another, mounting in hot haste, pouring forward, throwing soul, the idle dwellings as a whole, mining the depths of the primordial, turning up seed at the mercy of thee. On the hill, in the ring, in the sack, along the top of the cellar door, you and I are who the flares are for. There's no second-guessing electronic blessings, not anymore. To mingle and involve with full assent, the boldest design from the lowest deep, once more to be lifted up, carried from the street. It never seems to be as pleasing as the sorcery, the crownest prince of clowns all around, fraught with fire unquenchable, to receive them whole and upon them close. A union without end in this tattered house of woe. Thy creature late so loved, the shadows of fate, peculiar the grace, below as it is above, the emptiness must be perfect, or nothing else is love. Wayward dreamers with eyes like torn ticket stubs, these faded party streamers, posh frocks and pop rocks, running at a breakneck pace. You're making them feel like tourists everywhere you go these days. Elusive we are, the triers of reins. There is no turn left unstoned. Looking for a place to go and stay the same. Time wounds all heals, while systematically leveling the playing field. Submit to constraint and caprice, the treasures that are known to few with the greatest avidity. From the tower room, I feel you sigh. Once more into the breach, much like an eye to answer mine. My rebellion is reborn. I'll be facing down this town. My home is in the storm. Catching up on all the folly we could muster in a daze. Now is the prime location for lascivious escape. How deliciously irreverence wants to dance with you and murder me. The rawness of the atmosphere to begin the world anew. High romance in the lowlands where we danced back in '82. Scripted to pieces properly. Body snatchers to the stars so blue.